Absolutely pathetic. Look at this. The last 2 episodes we've done of this series, they've been in the red. And our average recently turns out to be about minus £30 per episode. We can't carry on like this. With that being said, a big welcome your faces back to a brand new video. I've absolutely had enough. We need to get back into the positive, and I feel like today is that day. I say this every week, but you know what? More of a special feeling today. Straight into the business end of things. This box had enough bubble wrap to make a bed. I'm not complaining because it gives me more supplies for postage. I paid a grand total of £175 for this faulty PlayStation 5. First thing I'm going to do is check to see if we have a warranty sticker intact. Please! Because it didn't show on the listing. A bosh. Okay. Not good news. Warranty sticker has been breached and poorly put back on. That's fine. Nothing's getting me down today. I'm going to be 100% positive. We're going to plug it in and see if it powers on and find out what the actual fault is. So let's head on over to, okay, we have some sort of residue sticker here. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Completely no power. Oh, wait. I heard a beep. And now nothing. No lights? No lights. So we did have a single beep at some point, but now nothing. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just not turning on, right? And we get a singular beep. So let's take it apart and see exactly what's going on. Before we do that, a quick word from today's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay is the solution for all your PCB needs. Imagine this scenario. You're in dire need of a reliable service to print some custom circuit boards. Those boards need to be great quality, have fast shipping, and be at a very good price. PCBWay have you sorted. Simply start your instant quote and customize your PCB to how you want it. Anything from thickness to solder mask color. And then in a few simple steps, you'll be ready to check out. PCBWay also offers services such as CNC machining, 3D printing, injection molding, and sheet metal fabrication. Why not check out the gift store where you can buy preheaters, soldering irons, multimeters, and much more. Head on over to PCBWay.com to get started. The main question being that has the person who's been in this before put the screws back in the correct place. I also don't like the fact that this little sticker has gone as well. First layer of screws, absolutely fine. Fan does look a tad dusty, if I do say so myself, but nothing that a little bit of a can of air won't clean up. I should have checked the model, but I didn't. Looking at the blue antenna wire that I can see down here, I think it's going to be a 020 motherboard. And in fact, if I check the bottom of it, model is a CFI 1116A. So yeah, the second generation of PS5 consoles that came out, meaning a 020 motherboard. All right, okay. Disk drive is disconnected. We can see through this one here. Doesn't look like UART's been done from what I can see of the solder pads up here. Now time to take off the 2000 screws that we have holding the heat shield. All right, what we got under the hood? Another screw. Heatsink seems to be in place. Oh, around the HDMI port, we have some issues by the looks of it. Let's have a butcher's then. So if we ground our black lead from the multimeter, we're just going to see if we get a nice 12V, which judging by what my multimeter is doing, which you can see up in the top right, yeah, we got 12 volts as you can see. HDMI port has definitely been worked on. We'll take a look at that under the scope in a second. I'm just going to see if we get our 5, which we do, and our 3, which we do. We get, yeah, our 3.3. Just want to see if we get anything after. Oh, okay, so we got the power plugged in right now. Don't seem to be getting anything after this little transistor up here, and I'm pretty sure we're meant to get 3.3, and then when we press the console on, it goes up to 5 volts. I've just pushed it. There was a beep, but I'm getting nothing now. Okay, so I think we might be missing some voltage here. That could be to do with the retimer IC that we have on the other side of this board because of the fact how bad the HDMI port looks. Now, can I get our 0.8 or 2 volts here? Okay, there we go. Sorry, so we get 2.5 here. Yep, it being a 020 board. And it stays on for quite a bit, look. It's still on. It's still on. 2.5. It's just hanging. Ooh, how long is this going to last for then? It's still on. Is the console actually... Okay, there we go. It turns off. That was long, hey? So we just get a very, very long power on and startup, but just nothing happens. I think, due to the symptoms and what we have, I'm going to go straight to UART. Now, I might need to do one UART now and one UART later, but I just want to see what the error code is popping up with now. It might say, Joey, your problem is the retimer IC, so please change it out. It could be that straight away, perhaps. Who knows? Let's do UART. Okay, interestingly enough, we have this one, which drove me round the wall last time I worked on a PS5, but it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth problem or power failure. So we will be casting our eyes over here as well as the fact we have the issue with the HDMI port. Now, as always, that might be an absolute scapegoat. So I'm going to take that advice with UART with a pinch of salt. You're not fooling me today, PS5. I'm telling you, we are going to get you fixed. Your boy is making a profit. today. What lies underneath? Liquido metal seems to be alright. Doesn't look like any ridiculous spillages or anything like that. So let's just clean it off this board that we're going to be working on. Over to the microscope. Now, ooh, okay. Little bit of a messy job here. And by the looks of it, that is definitely going to need some sorting. Let's give it a little bit of a... Well, okay. Flying free, are we? Yeah, this ain't even on. Alrighty then. We can sort that out. No problemo. How does the... Ooh, has that been changed or not? It might just be that flux has gone down there. Potentially been changed. If so, I think they've done quite a good job here. Quick visual inspection of the board. Just having a look at the APU just to ensure that we don't have any cracks on it. Looks to be okay. South bridge area, fine, no flux. And SSD controller IC, no flux as well. Lovely. Now, remember it said we have an issue with the Wi-Fi Bluetooth area. So here we have the back of that IC. Just raise you up a little bit, West Lifestyle-y. Okay, multimeter probes at the ready. And what we're going to do is go into continuity mode here. And if we hear a beep on both sides of the caps, that's not good. We want one side to be ground and the other side should not be ground. So, what do we have? 500 ohms. 200 ohms, that's normal. 500 ohms. 200 ohms. 200 ohms. 500 ohms. Can you see I'm measuring on the actual path rather than here? Because if I measure here, this is ground. Here, 200 ohms. 500 ohms. 500 ohms. I'm not too sure if 500 ohms is the one. Pretty sure that's meant to be a little bit higher, near enough like the 1000 ohms, but I could be wrong. The 200 is pretty standard. We don't seem to have a short on the back of our Wi-Fi IC because why would it ever be that simple, right? So I'm going to measure around F7002, just about hit. See if we got a short. No, F7002 seems to be A-OK. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. We have a short here. Wait. Oh, wait. The fuse is blown. Ah, bonjour. So this side we do have a short. So on F7002, which is, I'm pretty sure the same circuit as the Wi-Fi IC, which is why I wanted to check here. I don't know if it's 3.3 or 5 volts. I'm pretty sure it's one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove this fuse. And then I'm going to inject and see what gets hot. I'm going to assume the Wi-Fi IC is going to get a little bit warm. This is where I've done UART, so please ignore the flux here. Again, I could be wrong though. Right, let's get this fuse off. You've done well. You held down the fort and you've done your job. You've gone bust, so this side here, this path, didn't feel the full force of the short. There we go. So, incoming with the thermal cam, I'm just going to inject, and I'm going to go with 0.7 volts. What do we have? Keep an eye on this Wi-Fi IC over here. 3, 2, 1. There we go. So we get 2 amps. What's getting hot then? It's not that cap, is it? Let's try again. This is the area where we are injecting. Is it that cap? Something on the back of the board. My guess is going to be one of these caps here. Was my guess correct? Inject. Yep. This little cap right here. When I say little cap, it's a very hot cap. It's an angry cap. Watch this. Put some IPA just here. Inject. Oof. See that? This cap here. A bit too big for its boots. Can't believe it. If that is our only issue, wow. I told you, I got a good feeling about today. I'm not going to speak too soon. Because we could end up with like a no display or something like that. Even after resolving the HDMI issue. So let's just let's take this cap off, remove it and replace it. Sort the fuse out as well. Okay, cap be gone. Let's put it up there. And if we take this cap. Yeah, look at that. Shorted. Bosh. Lovely. Now we just grab the same cap. It's from a donor. Should have maybe put a little bit of leaded down, but we might be okay. Should be okay, really. Flow itself back into place. There we go. Whilst the board is hot, just get rid of that flux. It doesn't need to actually be there. Flip the board over, and we're going to replace the fuse. A little bit of flux here. Soldering iron. Just give this a little bit of leaded. F7002. I choose you. That's securely on the pads, and then just a little reflow. There we go. And again, just a nice little cleanup. Flux be gone. Doesn't even look like we've worked in this area. That's what we want. Now, back in continuity mode, do we have our short? I should have checked this before. No, our short's gone. So we don't have a short here. We don't have a short here. And the fuse is, in fact, continuous. Good. Now we just need to sort out... Ah! Good job I looked on the back, eh? You see how we're missing stuff for this port? Look at that. So we need to sort this out. Okay. Give that a tiny bit of flux with the solder. A little bit of unleaded. There we go. I'm pretty sure it's just a diode and a cap. That port is most probably going to be getting changed out anyway. I don't know if the ground holes are actually torn there. No, they're not. So just make sure we get our diode the right way. Just get a little bit closer for this. There we go. Same for this other little cap just here. Nothing more than protection, I don't think, but lower the airspeed a little bit, and again, just a little bit of flux. What this is going to do is just concrete those components into place. There we go. There goes the diode. And I think there goes the cap. Now, I want to be careful cleaning this because they are sensitive components, especially that diode. And a bit of IPA here, seeing if any of this stuff comes off. It might do with a little bit of excess heat later. But right now, we don't necessarily need to do that. I'm going to worry about the cleaning around this after I've done my port, because it's still going to get a lot more messier than this. But those two components have been replaced. I do just want to do a quick final sweep, make sure we got all our components here. By some miracle, we still do have this cap, and we've got this cap, this diode, and this resistor. Good. And now this port just needs to go. I don't know if this port needs to come off, whether we're okay. I'm going to say it's probably better taking this off and just doing my own port, to be honest. So pretty simply, to start off with, we're going to go 480 degrees Celsius with an airflow speed of 90% and just get this port off the board. Rotating that heat, the fume extractor is on because we don't know what flux and stuff they have used. And because it's not soldered onto the pins very well anyway, this is, literally just dropped off. Look at that. So I'm going to get rid of their solder. More so because I have no idea what solder they have used. And I don't want it interfering. So the way we do this is by using our solder sucker. Some people don't like to use a solder sucker. That's absolutely fine. This is just my preferred method. I find it the quickest and easiest. So here we go. That's going. Now I do have to be careful here. And the reason why I have to be extra careful is because I have put, let me try and explain as best I can, leaded solder where this cap and this diode is. So it's going to be a lot easier for these to fly off the board. So when I come over here, I have to be super careful. And two, there we go. Flip the board over, and this part of the board is looking a little bit dire, but not completely out of the game. Again, I'm just going to grab flux. I'm not going to add solder here. I do think they've used leaded. I'm going to take my wickedy wick wick. Now the board's still going to be relatively hot, so this should clean up nicely. Cotton swab, just get rid of that flux. Clean as we go sort of situation. As always, my preferred method, as you know by now. If you're new to the channel, you obviously won't know that. But I like to, whilst the board is hot, just get the flux off. In my honest opinion, looking a bit better than what it did previous, that's for sure. And now we fill the whole thing up with flux and leaded solder. Ready for our new port. Fill up that hole. Nice. And this one, exactly the same. Now I just put an abundance of solder in, and the reason being is because even if it comes through the other side, when we go to put the port on, I like to use the drop method, and theoretically what should happen, should being the key word here, is the port legs will hug the solder that we've got. Clean off the flux that is here, because it doesn't need to be here, and we're going to apply some fresh stuff anyway for the port. There we go. This blob is going to look a bit different down here on the bottom right. And the reason being is because whoever done this before has messed with the ground hole and destroyed it a little bit. So it's not going to look as pretty as what it usually would. But there we go. That is our board prepped, ready to go for a new port. And now I am just going to tin this port. So just a little bit of flux here. Because again, we don't want this going inside the port. When this goes inside the port, it's not great. It's game over. Just enough on the pins. I'm yet to master like a one swoop on the actual port. It can take a while. But as long as they get coated with solder, that's the main aim of the game here. Drop more flux. There we go. I like to just get any of the other flux that we have and just clean it with a cotton swab. Just putting some flux on now. Only a tiny bit. Nowhere near as much as what we have had. And just spread that out. Don't have to do this again. I just like to limit the amount of flux that I have. Ultimately, flux is your friend. Not food. Same speed and temperature actually. 480 degrees Celsius, 99% airflow. Rotating that heat underneath, and then we're just simply going to place the port on. I like to use my fingers with these gloves, but I wouldn't recommend. And the reason I do that is because the port obviously isn't hot when I go to place it on. If I left my fingers there for 3 seconds, I'd start to feel the pain. You can see the solder just starting to wet and glisten, which is exactly what we want. There we go. And in the middle as well, especially. And now we just plop that port on, move in the air, back and forth, making sure that we don't burn the plastic on the port. And then what I'm going to do is come in with the tweezers and give this a little wiggle about the place. And the reason I do that is just to give it a chance to bond with the board properly. and make sure that the solder sticks. I think here is probably looking pretty promising. So I'm just holding down on the port, and I'm going to come off the air in about 3, 2, 1. I'm going to keep holding down my tweezers. I can see the solders come through the legs and it is hugging, which is what we want. I'm just holding down gently. I'm not pushing forcefully here. It's just enough to ensure that we get that connection. Looks to be good. Now we move quick. I'm actually not quite being quick enough here. Take our cotton swabs, and whilst again the board is hot, I am just simply going to try and get as much flux as I can away from this port. And I'd also like to just get a little bit of IPA, sit it around the port, and then use a can of air to blast it away. And that will leave us with little streaks on the board where the retimer is. But what it ensures is that, again, we're just not getting any flux in that port. Me personally, I've been caught out so many times thinking that I've done a bad port, and all it was just too much flux. That's purely from experience. We can just clean up any flux that we accidentally blew down here. No problem at all. And now if we look at the port, look at that. Looks lovely, hey? Just give it a quick nudge on a few of these, just to make sure they're solid, but I can actually see that the solders come over those pins, and they all look solid. So we should be A-O, absolute K. And again, you can see that the holes are hugging those legs because we've used that drop method. See that? On this side, a little bit skew whiff because of the fact this ground hole was ruined. This is the one I was talking about. Going to get a little bit of this charring off. Most of it with a good old screw up. And the back of the port, again, just working with what we can, get any of this flux off. But I'm actually going to leave these as they are. It is definitely going to be a solid port. I don't have any doubts about it. Now the real question is, does this actually turn on and display? Let's find out. Let's see if we get power first, then hopefully we get a blue light, and then hopefully we get a white light. And then what I'll do after that is I'll sort out the liquid metal because I've not completed that yet. This is not a game, Joey. And then I'll test the HDMI. So here we go. 3, 2, please, 1. Still nothing. You know what? I don't even think I'm getting a beep now. Oh, wait a minute. It's on because I just heard 3 beeps. Is this on? It's on. The PS5's on. Yes. I didn't hear a beep when I pushed the power button, but I can see it. And it displays, by the way. Okay, so let's turn that off. Yeah, it's now off. Okay, perfect. So let's take out the power and the HDMI cable. Have we got a hole in this? Oh, somebody's caught it down here in the screw bit. Look. It's taken a chunk out of it. Honestly, people are always breaking these ribbon cables. Yeah, it's completely ripped. I think maybe before then I would have got a blue light. I just wouldn't have been able to see it. The console definitely wouldn't have turned on because we had the short at F7002, but it would have had a light for sure. Right, here's the new cable. Plug that in. And we should be off to the races. Right, I've installed a new cable. I just want to make sure it works before I put it all back together because you know exactly what I'm like. 3, 2, 1. Nice. There we go. So it works. I didn't hear that beep again, but I can sometimes hear the speaker. So that is a little bit weird. Might be a setting they've got on the PS5 itself. Wicked. That's a white light as well. And there's the beep, so I can hear the speaker. Turn this off, sort out the liquid metal, put it back together, and hopefully we've actually made a profit. And here we are. The PS5 is on. I've disabled HDCP. I'm just putting a disc in to make sure that it definitely works because this is where a lot of the repairs can actually just fall over. I mean, it's spinning. It sounds good, sounds healthy, no big clunking, anything like that. There we go, Far Cry 6, lovely. Next thing I'm going to do is actually play a little bit of Fortnite, maybe just like 5-10 minutes, just to make sure that we don't have any overheating problems or anything like that because Fortnite is such a high demanding, stressful game. But the next thing you're going to see is Sally's spectacular spreadsheet. Sally, oh Sally, oh Sally. How much profit did we make today? £175 was spent, plus the parts. These are now cheap. I'm going to say 50p. PS5 prices are up and down at the moment, so I'm going to give this one a safe £260. It should sell for that, considering it's got the disk drive as well. So we'll go 260, which gives us a total profit in today's video of £61.10. Let's go. I'm just so happy we got a profit. 61.10, bringing the total profit of the series to £53.05. Buzzing that we're now actually back into the green. Long may it continue. Thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week/weekend. I'll leave the last episode to this series up here. I'm really looking forward and roll on to the next video. See you then. Peace.